Opponents of a natural gas pipeline that's under construction in West Roxbury have taken their civil disobedience to another level. To talk about the series of protests are two of the activists from Stop the West Roxbury Lateral, Nancy Wilson, and from ResistThePipeline.org, James Michel. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Our pleasure.
I'll start with Nancy. What got you involved in this?
I'm an area resident. I live right near the quarry. And I started seeing these Stop the West Roxbury Lateral Pipeline signs pop up. And my natural curiosity caused me to follow that trail all the way to the organization that was behind them. And I've been with them ever since.
Now, of course, you've probably seen some of the regulatory action around this, and I know this is a very big, high-pressure pipeline, but they're saying, you know, given how far it is underground, given what it's made of, even if there is continued blasting from the quarry, there's nothing to worry about.
That's what they say, okay? We have other experts who contradict what they say, and we are just simply interested in a complete and dispassionate and transparent airing of facts on both sides. Unfortunately, the way the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission process works, the organizing company, the corporation that builds this pipeline, is essentially self-certifying. They contract for the study that says this is safe, even though in their EIS statements they admit there is a slightly increased risk that this could cause catastrophic trouble. None of that is detailed in any way, and there is no counter to that. There's only what they say, and that we consider a fundamental problem with the process.
James, your concerns, I think, are broader. This is not just about one location with one kind of hazard.
No, that's correct. I mean, we're, as our governor has said, we're at an energy crossroads, and we are talking about constructing a series of pipelines, of which this is the one that's happening, and it's happening in my city, you know, through an act of eminent domain against the wishes of all our elected officials. But it's part of a larger network, which is essentially designed to bring fracked gas from the Marcellus Shale, our neighbors in Pennsylvania, who I'm sure are thrilled to have their water supplies ruined, really to export. And you know, are we going to spend $8 billion of Massachusetts ratepayers' money to construct a series of pipelines to ship this stuff to Europe, or are we going to invest that in efficiency, solar and wind? I vote for the latter.
You've aroused my curiosity here. Is it the ratepayers in Massachusetts that are paying for this pipeline?
Well, our DPU just last month had a finding on a docket that it could, in fact, charge the ratepayers for construction of, you know, there was initially a plan by the Northeast regional governors to have a super tariff regionally. That was found to be unconstitutional. So they took it back and said, okay, we'll do it state by state. And Governor Patrick did not support that effort. Governor Baker does, unfortunately.
Yeah, so when I see some of the coverage around the protests, I also notice in the comments section some of the people are saying, you're just being NIMBY. I mean, there are a lot more people in the state who need that pipeline to keep down the cost of electricity. I'm sure you've seen comments like that.
Of course we have.
How do you feel?
Of course we have. Of course we have. You know, there are a lot of NIMBYs, however. There are NIMBYs all over the state, okay? And there are NIMBYs who have the same concerns that James just voiced. And then there are those who say, if that's so, if we really do need this capacity, well, then prove it. Because all the evidence that we see points to the opposite. There have even been industry statements stating that even though last year was a terribly cold winter, we didn't need any additional resources. You know, we see no evidence that this is necessary. The level of capacity that's being delivered to this small lateral is not even close to what we need. We need a very small incremental amount of that. And right now, Attorney General Healy is doing that exact capacity study. I mean, people say a lot of things, okay? But what the facts are different, and we simply ask for an examination of those.
James, I've also seen an industry study saying we could be getting a lot more natural gas, maybe from places like Algeria, but you know, that's also an industry with an agenda. So what are we supposed to believe?
In terms of where we should get our natural gas?
Or another kind of energy, maybe even.
Well, I think if you look at the context of the times in which we are living, it is very clear that we have to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. I mean, right now we have sort of as a world population set the goal at 2 degrees centigrade for average warming, which is incredibly risky and catastrophic. At less than 1 degree, sort of halfway there, we're already seeing superstorms. Boston's really lucky it didn't get hit by Superstorm Sandy. I mean, come on. This is happening, and it's happening worse to our neighbors in southern hemisphere than it is to us, but it's going to impact us all. We should be rushing headlong with all our might, all our political will towards the great transition to clean and renewable energy, and that means wind and solar. And here in Massachusetts, where we have enough of both of those, and we have the great universities, I mean, we should be leading. We are leading, but we should be leading even more, even bigger.
Well, Nancy, speaking of leadership, people who oppose the pipeline, they're putting themselves on the line. We've had an escalating number of people arrested at protests. Where do you go from here?
We keep going. We just keep doing the same thing. We are using our civil actions as as a stronger statement than those that we've made before, and we're going to continue doing that. We're going to fight this with every single tool we have. This is wrong. Everyone knows it's wrong. All of the constituents believe it's wrong, except for the gas companies, who clearly have an interest, and it just has to be stopped. And the utilities, it just has to be stopped for a thorough and transparent examination, independent of the gas companies, the companies that are building this. This is essentially a case where, I would like to sell you my house, but don't worry, I will inspect it. That's okay, okay? Stop. We have to stop this. This is nonsense. So that's where we stand, and we're just going to keep going. We're going to continue these actions. We're going to continue all of our legal and legislative approaches. We're just going to keep going until we get the right thing done here.
James, what about how the protests fit into this? I know they're not the only thing you have on the table here, but how do they make the rest of those things work?
Well, we appreciate that, hello people
yes,
of Boston,
Here we
please
are,
join us.
Yes.
We vigil every day. We are training people in nonviolent civil disobedience. If you believe as strongly as we do, then you will do what you can to disrupt this process and bring attention to it. I mean, it's wrong. As one of our city councilors said, it's wrong for this neighborhood, it's wrong for our city, it's wrong for our state, it's wrong for our region, it's wrong for our country, and it's wrong for our planet. Right. Join us.
And if people want to get involved in some way, Nancy, what's the best way they can plug into that?
There are two ways. They can go to swirl.info, or they can go to resistthepipeline.com. .org. Thank you. That would be wrong to be .com. They can sign our petitions. It's I think it's petitions.moveon.org/stop the West Roxbury Lateral. Our resist movement also has a petition and a sign-on to pledge resistance. You can show up every morning from 8 to 9 a.m. wherever they're building on Washington Street. Show up on Monday at 6:30 to 7 p.m. opposite the quarry where this is going to terminate. Join us for our rallies, and come when you come. Come when you can, as often as you can.
Right, and get educated. I mean, that's really what it's about. There's this preposterous scam being played on the people of New England that somehow, because we have high electricity rates, the only solution is super highway of fracked gas getting in here, and that's just wrong. We should be going in the opposite direction.
Thank you both very much, James, Michel, and Nancy Wilson.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.